let's put some window tint on this C10. We got AC working, so next step is keep it cool inside with window tint. Now, I don't really know what I'm doing when it comes to window tint. I am horrible at cutting. I can heat shrink, but cutting is by far my worst trait. Now, I've already practiced and got a piece on here with some scrap tint I have. It had wrinkles in it already, so I'm gonna have to redo this, but it's pretty good. This is 20%. We're gonna go 20% all the way around, even doing the vent windows, which I'm sure will be interesting because of this. But I mean, you can see makes a big difference, and I know it makes a big difference on the inside. Now, I've already tinted this back glass because it's really flat, really simple. That was a good one to practice on. Now, of course, you can see my bad cuts up the top, and I wrinkled in some spots because it's my first time in quite a while, but I've never really been good at this. So let's see if we can get it at least acceptable. Like, to me, that's acceptable. It looks good though. So now, because of these rain wind guard things, it's kind of difficult to get a nice cut along the top here on this side. Now, what I'm going to do is actually do it on the inside. Now, normally you cut on the outside, then you stick it on the inside here, but I'm going to do it like this. So I have it rolled down so where I can see a nice edge here, and I think if I just stick it on, cut my nice groove there, I can roll the window up and then get more of this edge, more of that edge. See, the problem is the window doesn't go straight down. It kind of goes a little to the left when it comes in. So I think right there should be a good enough spot. Now, like I said, I'm using 20% tint. This tint is just barely longer than the window. So I'm going to make sure I get the top of it like just barely over the top of the glass. We want to make sure sticky side toward the glass since we're doing it on the inside. Okay, so sticky side toward the glass. Now we just need to unroll the appropriate amount. Need a little more. We're going to say that's enough. Wet it a little bit. That way we have something to stick it to. Okay. Now I'm using my squeegee to just stick it into place. So remember, we don't have much, so we gotta make sure we are just barely over the top of the glass. And that's about right. Alright, let's make a cut. So the proper way is one single cut. You don't want to cut more than once because you're going to see it. I can't do that. I'm not there yet. So I'm going to do the best I can. Just find a spot. And probably better if I start on this side because it'll be harder to see that cut. Nope. Let me try this way then. Well, so I'm definitely better cutting to my left with the blade that way. It's good to know. Alright, losing our stick on this left side. Okay, let's go like to the middle down here. There's a relief cut. That's what I need. Let's do some more of those. Alright, cutting up. Okay, got a somewhat good line. We messed up on this corner when we trimmed it off. I went too far in. I see a light gap. Okay, removing that. Give me a little extra room. Alright, well, that's close. About as close as I can get it. Now let's go fix our edges. If you notice, it's kind of tight in there. We need to make it slightly less wide. So I scrapped the last piece, started over, the second try, we got it, it's much better. Last time I had a huge crease when I was undoing the film, which totally stinks, but we're there. So you see some door panel stuff and the side vent thing missing. Don't worry about that. I was about ready to just pull the mirror, or pull the whole window assembly out and just do it outside of the door so I don't have to deal with cutting so much. But then I'd have to replace all the seals, and I don't have the seals, and I wouldn't have time to get seals, so we're making this work. So there's a nice bubble here. This is because the glass is a little bit curved. It's not that curved compared to modern cars, but it's a little bit, just enough to cause a little air bubble. So we're going to use the heat gun to shrink it. So I heat it up, and then I just squeegee it down. And we're going to have to do this a couple times, and then more air spots are going to pop up. But you got to be careful you don't burn the tint, because that'd be another quick way to just undo all the work you just did. Okay, that's looking pretty good. I think we got all the air bubbles out down there. Now to remove these side vent lock things, they have a pin in them that you can drive out. So I'll take a pick and a hammer, knock that pin out. And once it's out far enough, we can grab them the rest of the way out. And just like that. Now this will just slide off. We just kind of got to rock it off. There we go. A little washer. Keep that with the part. And then later models have like a Torx bit. Mine has a nut, so like it's self-tightening. So I just need to loosen this, hold it on the back side, and actually that was loose. So there we go. Comes out. Washer, or this is more of a gasket behind it. And then we'll be able to push the whole thing out that way. So I cleaned it real good. Now I'm just going to use my knife and go along the edges here and make an opening. Well, I guess not that one, but I'll go along the edges here and cut a small little slit into here. That way there's room for the tint to go in there and hide. Okay, we got our shape cut out, or our slice that we're going to work with. Now let's get it cut. Wind is rough, and there's hardly any wind, so it's not helping. Okay, we got our bottom. Stop moving on me. Corner. Okay, now we just got to get this edge. cut it, but it's a little too long, so I have to shorten it somehow. But it's not playing nicely with me. There we go. There's a clean cut. Okay, it's going to be a little tricky because this window is really loose. So maybe I just need to do it like this. I think that lined up actually. Let's squeegee it. And here we go. So it actually came out really good cut wise. Now I messed up when I was making the hole for this. What I used is my soldering iron, burn a hole through it. I should have made the hole bigger because it scrunched up. It wasn't big enough. So now we have some damage on the end here. So really I should redo this, but I think I'm just gonna cover it up. Now it's been a few days, but we have the window tint fully set up and it does look good from 5-10 feet away. However, once you get close, you can see the defects and my mistakes. On the driver side vent here, where this nut is, I totally just ruined this. You can clearly see I messed that up. I didn't cut it up big enough, and when I tightened it, it pulled the tint. So that's a mistake. We have little bubbles, if you could see, like there's one. Little tiny ones. What that is dust and dirt. It's contaminants. That's just from not having a clean surface or getting dust onto your tint as you're right after you take the adhesive off. You know, we have some hair here. That's just typical. It's just kind of what happens. With the tint now, however, you can see the glass is scratched up on the inside. So that's a bummer, I guess. It's really showing prominently now, but it is what it is. Overall, though, I'm fairly happy with that. That could have came out a whole lot worse. Same with the back side. I did this side off of camera, and this was the first one I did. It had kind of the most issues. You can see some bubbling around the edges, especially like entirely on the edges. It's just not good. And the cut was not very straight up there. But again, from the bed length away, looks pretty good. Like, unless you know what you're looking for, your eyes don't really go right to it. Passenger side, actually fairly decent on this side. We only have a few little bubbles, one hair there, and this vent did pretty good, but same thing, my cut was pretty poor, got some contaminants in there. Now I am just being hard on it. Overall, I'm happy with it, and it's gonna do the job, which the most important job of tint, in my opinion, is keeping the heat out. And this is that ceramic 2-ply tint that's gonna keep that heat out. And I've already tested it, and boy, does it make a difference. It is darker in here, noticeably darker. It's only 20% window tint, but it's definitely darker. Now let me roll down a window and show you some of my cuts. Now this is the last one I did, so it's my better work. And it's not the worst thing. You see I stopped and started there, so you can actually visually see it. That's why that's a bad idea to do that. So two bubbles up here, but overall, not bad. I'm happy with this. It's acceptable to me. And this came in. It's a cup holder that goes right into the ashtray area. It works. It's okay. It does slide back, but it won't slide out, which I guess is the most important thing. We'll see how it does when there's actually weight on it. It may not slide at all once there's weight in there. But overall, pretty good. So there you have it. There's the window tint installed on the truck. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.